Started. Okay, perfect. All right, Adam, again, thanks for being our amazing host and mastermind guru. And with that, I'm just going to turn it over to you, Adam.
All right. Yeah, thanks everyone for showing up. So this is a $10 plus million mastermind. So I'm assuming you're all a bunch of high Ds and you're going to be jumping on this thing and asking me questions so we can have some fun and hopefully pick up a few tidbits that can help you make some money today. I've got kind of 4 topics that I'd like to discuss. Let me know if you want to start with one or if one's more important than the others. I've got consistency and how we use that in our business to help the salespeople on the team have consistent income and how we deliver a consistent experience to our clients. The second thing is how to be productive with your database. The third thing is using competition as an accountability tool. You know, is we're all growing teams and have both hourly staff and then salespeople. You know, how do we get them to show up on a consistent basis so they can consistently earn, deliver consistent results to the clients and then to the team. And then the fourth, prepping your sellers for dealing with multiple offers.
All exciting and timely topics. That's a good mix.
Yeah. So I'm going to start with consistency if no one else has any opinions.
Hey, Adam, before you start with consistency, can you just give us a little bit of background about your business, how long you've been in real estate, how large is your team, what is your goal for closed units this year, just so we can get a little bit of an idea about who you are. And then as you talk about these amazing systems you implemented, it's like, oh, well, no wonder he closed 534 units. This is what he's doing, you know? That would be also helpful for us.
Yeah, so currently we've got 54 pending sales for about 23 million.
Wow.
We started 2020 with 4 salespeople. We ended with 7. We're going to have 12 by August.
Wow, huge growth.
Yeah, so, you know, it's just coming down to getting things in place and then bringing in the talent to make it happen. We did 193 transactions last year. Let's see, I own 4 rental properties. I'm going to start a 16 townhome project. We bought the land, developed it, and then we're going vertical. So we're building them, we're selling them, growing a team. Been doing this since 2011. So this is my 10th year in the business. Started at the bottom. I remember my first transaction was a bank-owned property. I think it was $60,000. You know, now that house is selling for 50 to 300.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
So starting your 10th year, you started with 7 agents. You're going to end by August, be at 15. Sold 156 units last year. 193 last year in the midst of a pandemic and everything else. And you already said you have 52 escrows pending this year?
54.
54. Okay, I'm not the best with numbers and memory, but I'm pretty close. But all that to say, it's pretty obvious and evident as to why you are our mastermind speaker today. You said consistency was one of the topics. Clearly, consistency is something that you've mastered at a high level to get you to where you are in your business, which I think is a great place to start. So let's just start there.
Perfect. So obviously it starts with like the simplest thing is setting the intention for your day the night before. You know, so I have recurring alarms that go off every weekday and then also every weekend. So I'm getting up at the same time every morning, and I have the intention of getting up on time before I go to bed. You know, it can be as simple as if you're lacking that commitment as to like, okay, if you set your alarm for say 5 in the morning and you don't have a driver or a reason to actually get up when that alarm goes off, why you can get, you know, you're going to hit the snooze button, you know, so setting the intention. So what I do is, depends on the day. I go to fitness classes, either CrossFit or another one called F45. and you have to book into classes, and they fine you $15 if you book a class and don't show up.
Mm-hmm.
And then I know the alarm goes off, even though it's only $15, I'm not giving them my money for a no-show. So I'm committed. My intention has been set. Alarm goes off, I get up, and then there's accountability built into group fitness, just in the fact that you got your friends there, and then they're going to ding you with the money. So having a little bit of a consequence for not getting up on time can be a huge way just to start your day. And if you start your day with a win, then it'll cascade into the rest of it. You know, so that morning routine all starts with the alarm clock and setting the intention for the day. And then it gets into what are we doing after we work out or whatever the morning routine is, and then getting to the office at the same time every day. So the way I see it is our willpower, you know, the desire to, and then the ability to follow through with what we really want to do is like a battery. I don't know about you guys, but I charge my phone at night. So my phone battery's full in the morning. So is my willpower. I hate working out, so that's the first thing I do. I hate meetings, so that's the second thing that I do. So by 11 o'clock on any given day, the schedule is clear for appointments, for follow-up, etc. So what we do at our team is everyone's at the office at 9 o'clock. We meet at 9:05. We go over something positive that happened. We do a little bit of learning. We do a little bit of practice and role play. And then at 9:35, we're out. And from 9:35 to 11, they do outbound activities. And that's Monday through Friday, unless, you know, there's like a major holiday or something. So that has been the foundation for our production. We weren't able to produce like we do now until we got really, really intentional with our consistency. You know, you wake up and there's no question about what you're going to do. I wake up, I do this, then I do this, then I do this, then I do this, and then it's 11 o'clock and I've got the rest of my day.
Love it.
You control those 2 hours from 9 to 11. It's incredible what you can get done. Any questions about waking up in the morning?
Willpower. I mean, that's the whole thing. Like I hate getting up early in the morning, and clearly I'm not working out consistently. And you heard before the call, there's several of us are like, okay, let's try that 75-day challenge. And to go back to what you're saying, it's consistency, it's setting the intention, it's follow through.
Yeah, so what, you know, an example would be with this 75-day challenge. Okay, you're gonna work out once at the gym and once outside a day. I know that you're gonna like cut out sugar and all the fun things in life. And so that's like the thing, but what's the intention around it? I'm going to lower my blood pressure. I'm going to lose 5 pounds, or I'm going to get my body fat scanned and track, you know, because the activity has to have something meaningful attached to it. Otherwise it's going to be, you woke up early on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then you had no good reason to do this 75-day thing by Thursday. And, you know, just like your New Year's resolutions.
Right. So like, I think what I heard you say is that you have an activity that has a result attached to it. Same thing in your business. I heard you say, you get to the office, you have a team meeting, you have something of education. I'm assuming everyone here in this room who are $10 million producers, you have a specific activity that you're committed to get the results you're seeking for in your business. So talk to us, group. What consistently are you struggling with for that consistent result in your business? Unmute yourself, type it in the chat box, because consistency is key.
I'm gonna start calling on people.
Well, it just seems like so boring. I like to keep things fun and fresh, and I'm like, so that's where I struggle. I guess I'm just like, I don't want to, I don't know. I mean, it's typical the high D personality, right?
Oh, absolutely. Candace, do you have, how many people do you work with or on your team?
So currently I have 3 agents, myself, and an admin.
Okay. So what I've found that works really well, which is actually another topic, is using competition as an accountability tool. And so like all these things, they do weave together. So I found the same thing. There's been people that we've decided to part ways, you know, that used to work on the team. And one of the guys comments, we laugh about it to this day, is he's like, I felt like I was a robot. You made me a robot. You know, I had to be here at this time, and then I had to do this, and you know.
Yeah.
So that individual got out of our system. Boom, boom, boom. I own you from 9 to 11. That's it. 2 hours. Give me 2 hours, and I can guarantee your success. Unfortunately, he's currently driving Uber because he didn't want the consistency. So he wasn't making calls. He wasn't following up. He wasn't showing up to work ready to rock. You know, one day I show up at 11. One day I don't show up at all. You know, how are you going to follow up? So there was like the reality of the power of it, and then making it fun. So we do competitions typically from the 14th to the 14th.
Okay.
And we have what are called our standards, and that's just that's the floor that we stand on. So that is, we have sales training we do, so they have to do 4 sales training modules a day. That's by 9 a.m. and I get a report. They need to have 2 pending at all times.
Mm.
You show up to the office at 9 o'clock every day. Yeah, those are the big 3. And so we have those, and there'll be months where no one's really super excited about another competition. But this month they added, we want to do 6 sales training modules. We want to do 10 database ads a week per person. They write down their goals morning and night in a journal, and they show it to me every day.
Mm.
And at the end of that month, who's ever done all of those things, they get a 25% increase in the commission for 2 deals that they pended during the past month. And so one of my guys, he's the only one out of the 8 salespeople I currently have, only one of them did the 75 hard, like the extra, the database ads, the goals twice a day, the 4 pending instead of 2. And we're closing a deal on the 30th, and I'm going to bring him $3,625 in 20s and throw it on the conference room table to show like he did the competition, and here's a stack of cash on top of his regular commission that he earned because he did it. And everyone's gonna be like, dang it, it's cash, like that money's real.
Right.
And I can make the prizes a little bit bigger for the people, knowing that the most difficult thing is the consistency, and it's also going to make them the most money. You know, if you showed up every day and you did 10 calls and you followed up with your buyers right after that, and you were done at 11, people would start to notice this person's a professional. They're consistent. They're showing up. They're dressed. They're ready to go. So then they make more money. And then if you can do the competition thing to where everyone's jealous of the guy that just picked up a stack of 20s, a big stack of 20s or 50s or whatever, then it gets, okay, hey, I'm going to do that. I want to be the guy that gets paid at the end of the month.
That's awesome. Adam, can you share a little bit about your sales training modules? Are those things that you created?
Yeah, absolutely. So we use a company called Cardone University.
Mm.
And it's just a sales training platform. There's videos. They're anywhere from 30 seconds to 20 minutes, depending on the topic. And then there's a test afterwards, like a 4-question test.
Is it Grant Cardone?
Yeah.
Okay. Very good. Thanks.
Also curious, Adam, what is the journal that your team uses for them to all put in their goals and their activities?
You guys are going to start to realize I'm a Kool-Aid drinker now. It's also from Cardone.
Got it.
It's called the 10X Planner. It's like, I don't know, $15. I buy them by the case.
Cool.
And you just carry it around with them wherever they go.
Nice.
Kind of, part of it's like schedule, and then part of it is like goals. And one of those goals is to set the intention with what you're doing.
Right.
And then along the lines of gamification, I've got another funny story. So I've got one guy that for some reason he's consistently like 3 minutes late. And so during one of our sales competitions, one of the guys, Logan, the other guy that's always late, Ben, said, we're going to do a little side bet. If you show up every day at 9 o'clock like you're supposed to, I'll give you $100. If you miss one of our days, you're not here at 9, you're here at 9:01, you owe me $100. And all of us would check on our watches and check in the door. Oh, you made it 8:59. And then he showed up at 9:01 one day, and the next day he had 100 ones and just started throwing them in the air at Logan. And so it was fun. We were all like going to be narcs, right? We're all going to tattle on Ben so we could watch the fireworks. So it doesn't have to be anything big, but just like that little competition, even between people. I've never seen that guy show up so consistently in my life. And that was all to not lose $100.
Love it.
So any sort of gamification, if you can make this fun, amongst each other, and if you don't have a team, you can have accountability with other agents in your office or the front desk staff. It really can be anybody, but something that puts a little skin in the game will really help with your consistency.
Love it.
Yes. Any other thoughts on the consistency portion?
Just check the chat room, see if there are other questions around that. No, people are loving it. So yeah, let's go to the next topic you got.
All right, database. Sounds like Darcy had, on the last mastermind, you guys dove pretty deep into the database. What was maybe missed there, or is important? Does everyone understand, what your database is, the power of it?
This is a pretty different group than who was on the database call. So I say, talk about whatever's working for you, and I'm sure we can find some great nuggets.
So your database, if properly worked, is your business. The database is everything. I was on a call with Gary Keller a couple weeks ago, and he said database is everything, and then everything else is everything else. And that really sunk in. Years ago, I realized that it was important, and I'm a driver, high D, not super detail oriented. And I knew that I had to get a database. Like I had all these customers that, maybe had purchased, maybe the ones that hadn't purchased, friends, family, past clients, future clients, builders, vendors like plumbers, electricians, heating and air guys, roofers, painters. And they all knew me and I knew them, but it's so easy, like to lose that top of mind position in people's brains. Like they say, if you ask anyone in the general population about a real estate agent, typically 2 people are going to pop up in their mind. Some more, some less, but on average it's 2. So if I had this really great painter and he did a really good job, but I haven't talked to him in 2 years, but then I saw, a truck with someone else's painting name on the side of it, or my buddy just got into business. When someone asks me who a good painter is, I may not remember the best guy I ever worked with because he lost space in my top of mind in that position. So even though you have people that know you, like you, and trust you, if you're not staying in front of them, it would be our fault if they think of real estate agent and they don't think of you. So we know that most clients are going to buy or sell every 5 to 7 years, and I think it's even shorter now. And most people don't remember the last agent they worked with. That's because that agent didn't put them into their database or isn't doing anything with the database. So as we're selling all these houses, we want to sell these people houses again, and their friends and their family. And it is just an intention that we have to be constantly adding to the database. And our database used to be an Excel sheet, and then we moved it to HubSpot. and then we're thinking about migrating it somewhere else. So the first thing is to have it. And Destiny, I emailed you some things you can share. I've got for every new person that comes on the team, they fill out this database sheet. It's an Excel sheet that has name, address, phone number, email, job title, and that job title is friends or family, past client, or like an industry person like insurance or mortgage. And we can share that with everybody, because if you don't have it, just start. And you can just simply work that into your routine. I'm going to add 3 people a day to my database sheet, but we're going to do it consistently, right? So name, phone number, email, address, name, phone number, email, address. It's all done to where you can take that data and put it into a CRM in the future. Yeah, so that's our database ad sheet. And we'll send that out. It's nothing crazy, because this is a very simple business. It's just difficult to do some of these simple things. Like, hey, Michael, how you doing? The reason for my call is I'd like to put you in my database. And then Destiny, also, you can pull up on the screen our 36 touch. That's also the other Excel one. And we'll share this with everyone as well, so you can see exactly what we're doing to nurture our database and to stay in front of them. So when I call up someone to add them to the database, maybe I don't have their address, if we sent them something and it bounced, or I don't have their email or whatever, just a reason to clean it up. We have all these people in the database. Some of them are just missing different information. Hey, I saw that in February, you didn't get our Q1 happy hour invite. And then I emailed you our monthly snapshot, which shows all the current market statistics at Bounce. So I want to make sure that you're getting these monthly market emails, as well as the free coffee cards I'm sending you, and the Christmas tree permit that's coming in November. Can I get your, phone number or whatever? So we're using the value that we give to get whatever information that we're missing. And then each one of those tabs that Destiny's going through is just who's required to do it, when it's going to start. Right before we do a coffee mailer, we're going to design it and submit it for approval, and then we're going to have a ship date. And then that gives us a reason to call our people. Hey, just sent you a free coffee in the mail, double checking that you still live at 123 East Main Street. So that's a touch. They get something free from us. And then at that point, we can ask them, hey, who do you know that wants to buy, sell, or invest in real estate? Oh, you do? Great. So these are all reasons that, from our time between 9:35 and 11 every day, we have millions of reasons, not millions, multiple reasons to contact the people that know, like, and trust us to make sure that we're top of mind. So they get these little things. And I believe if you go to the main tab, it's even going to show the budgets that I set for this. 80% of our 193 transactions last year came from this. And I think we spent $15,000 on it. So
wow.
800,000 in commissions off of a $15,000 budget. I think that beats the heck out of Zillow return, right?
It's a good ROI for sure.
And you can just pull up your phone and start with the A's, and you call them to get the info, or you delete them if you don't want them in your database. So, everyone, you're going to get this. And it's just not that much money. It just requires consistency. If you add 5 people a day for 200 days, that's 1,000. That could be 20 to 50 transactions. I think, 1 in 23 people will be interested in buying, selling, or investing in real estate in the next 6 months. And then if you get half of those, and then half of those convert, like the numbers are pretty incredible. And so we're going to give you guys all those tools, and feel free. My favorite department is my R&D department, and that's rip off and duplicate. If you see someone doing something great, copy them. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. But none of this works if we don't add people to it, make sure that the data that is in there is good, and then execute by either, hiring a virtual assistant or a part-time marketing person, or commit some time yourself, depending on your situation, to implement this. But as you're seeing, like, if I'm not consistently working every day, I'm not going to consistently add to my database or even have the time scheduled to think about how I want to do my multiple contacts. You can use your phone, you can call, you can text, you can email, you can mail, you can send smoke signals. You can have an airplane with a flag behind it, as one of your database touches. But it all starts with the showing up every day and then starting to plan this stuff out.
Adam, I really love your idea, well, just your concept, obviously, of showing up and the consistency every day, being at the office every day at 9 or whatever that looks like, because it's so true. A lot of us are in this business because it's flexible and we can work when we want to, right? And then yet at the same time, the top producers and any top teams, top agents, anybody I've ever seen, it's always about the consistency, being at the office, following their schedule every single day. And it makes a humongous difference. So I know that in my team, we've been really working on that as well. And it really makes a huge difference, just having that structure, showing up and setting that professionalism. It's kind of like in our office of our brokerage, people always say, oh, they're always there, because we're always there. If we're not out on appointments, we really are. So I appreciate that, because it just reiterates, even on those days when you don't want to go or you don't want to show up. There will be those days, it's to be expected, yet few and far between are much better. So I appreciate that.
Awesome. Thank you. And to add to that, I was not consistent when I started. I was building houses, I was running coffee shops, and oh, by the way, I was doing real estate. So I would work in my construction clothes until my phone started ringing, and then I'd go to the office. So at that point, I was completely out of control of my business, and I was getting drugged wherever people were dragging me to instead of kind of leading the way. So what made me get consistent was the fact that you're going to pay attention to your money. If there was 50 million bucks in the corner of this office, I would be talking to you like this. I'd be looking at that dough. You're like, yo, there's a bunch of money over here. I'm busy. I'm looking at my money. So I hired someone, and that someone cost me 15 bucks an hour. And that someone showed up to work at 8 o'clock every day. And if I didn't show up till 10, I wasted 40 bucks, because it's not just the 15 an hour, it's the taxes, the unemployment insurance, the workers' comp. And I was like, okay, night before, what is new person going to do tomorrow? I got to pay them either way. So I better get to the office before them, figure out what I'm doing so I can figure out what they're supposed to be doing. And that's how it started, was putting my money where my mouth was, because otherwise there just was no real way for me to have that intention set until I put my money there. And all of a sudden, boom. So you throw your money at something, you have a much higher likelihood of paying attention to it. And now, when you get a bigger team, everyone's there. So then you have to show up. And then, you can make a thing where I pay everyone $5 if I'm late. I guarantee I'll never be late. Yes. All right. Let's see. So we kind of went over the competition portion of it. And you can make competition anything you want. Has anyone ever used competition to get consistency or for motivation, or had any experiences with that?
Well, I'll speak on behalf of the team I'm working on. I'm a licensed agent also on Rieger's team. And, lead generation sometimes is the biggest struggle for people to be consistent in. And so I threw out a little challenge. We started doing White Claw Wednesday. Now, granted, we're not drinking White Claw on Wednesdays, but we are all getting on a Zoom together. We're all in one Zoom room from 9 to 11. And whoever sets the most appointments during White Claw Wednesday, I will buy them a case of White Claw. If I set more appointments than any of the other agents, they all owe me one. And they've all been loving it. They're like, okay, let's do this. And I'm like, hey, I can't be on White Claw Wednesday this week. They're like, we're going to run it. I'll run it instead. Like, we love this. So sometimes it's the simplest of camaraderie within our own sales team, and not even coming from the rainmaker or the leader of the team. I'm noticing already is creating a whole different energy because it's created within ourselves and not from the big boss, if that makes sense. So that's been kind of a fun little thing we've been doing for the month of March.
Yeah. How much is a White Claw?
Like a case is like $20.
And the
Not that expensive.
right? They set an appointment. Average commission is probably what, around 10 grand. If they're on a 50-50 split, that's $5,000. So a $20 bet, or whatever you want to call it, incentive, can allow a salesperson to make an extra $5,000 by picking up the phone. Great return for the salesperson, great return for the team, and they had fun while they were doing it.
Right. What else do you guys want to talk about? What other burning questions do you guys have? What holes do you have in your business? I mean, this is a mastermind, so we're happy to collaborate and talk through anything, really. I mean, we've got a great, amazing speaker here, accomplished agent. I know Adam can talk about a variety of topics, but we also want to hear what's important to you guys. So don't be afraid to unmute yourself or put it in the chat box. Beth, yeah.
So is there any way, I know it's hard, is there any ideas or suggestions or verbiage or anything that you may have as far as are buyers able to win in multiple offers? I know, in this market, that's very difficult. I'm just asking if there's anything that that you would suggest, or anything maybe you're doing to come out on top on those for your buyers.
Absolutely. So the first thing is to be in communication with the seller's agent, if you can, right? Sometimes if there's 40 offers, you're not going to get anywhere. Having clout in your marketplace, like, hey, we know Beth, she's a solid agent. Maybe she's 1,000 or 2 less or whatever her offer is, but we know it's going to get done. So that comes back to consistency. Like, are you good at what you do, and do people respect you? And that typically is going to be a yes. So that's the biggest thing. What's important to the sellers? I have clients that money is not the most important thing. We just had one where I had, we print all our offers out, and I do a 1-page breakdown. Who's the agent? What's the financing? What's our asking price? What's their offer? What are the seller credits? Inspection period, close date, possession date, escrow, additional provisions. So then we can compare them apples to apples. Okay, asking $395, offer $405. They got a house to sell. Chuck them. Okay, they got an FHA loan. This guy's conventional. FHA goes away. But then if your client that's selling is also buying, for example, money may not be the biggest thing. It may be certainty. So in that case, right, they may take the cash or the larger down payment over the more money, because if this deal fails, then the house that they've been fighting to get also fails, and the whole house of cards collapses. So figure out what's important, because we had one, we listed for say like 370. We had an offer of 470 on it. That was the highest, but 395 was actually the best bet. And what they did was they paid part of the seller's closing costs, because that's one way to not have an appraisal become an issue. Like, okay, yeah, you can offer whatever you want, but it has to appraise, so that was, I thought, a very clever thing that another buyer's agent did. Was buyer will pay up to $5,000 of seller's closing costs and commissions. So that helped the seller net the most money, and it was a good agent with a solid buyer, and we took that one over ones that were much higher. Because of that certainty aspect.
Can you send out also that breakdown sheet for multiple offers for your seller with the agent, the price, concessions, and all of that? I would appreciate that. But that's a great idea, because I know that we've considered that in multiple offers with our sellers. It's like, you're exactly right. This is a solid agent. They're not bluffing, also checking who the lender is. A lot of times that makes a lot of difference as well. It's a good lender that you work with, and just a lot of that. So I would appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, Destiny, I'll email that to you. And what that comes, we can use this to transition into systems. So if anything you're doing more than once, you can create a system around it. And if you look up the definition of a system, it can simply be a method, a way of doing things. So in this case, let's see if I can, am I smart enough to share my screen? Oh yeah, maybe. I'm gonna try to talk and share my screen at the same time. So we have a buyer system and a seller system for offers. So what that means is we're always writing offers. And I'm assuming that most of you guys are dealing with DocuSign quite a bit these days, where you're not in front of your client going, okay, final agency acknowledgement, here's the sales agreement, purchase price, earnest money, 1%, down payment, next page. Okay, do you have anything to sell? Okay, you don't have a house to sell. Do you have the down payment and the earnest money available now? No, I need to get out of my 401k. Okay, we write that in there. Perfect. And you're pre-approved. Typically, like back in the day, we used to meet and go over each page. Now, you punch that puppy up, boom, DocuSign it. They go like this, click, 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 click. I hope I signed right. And there can become like this disconnect between what they think they offered and what you put in the offer, especially if we're in a big rush. Multiple offers, it's due at 5, it's 350. What are we gonna do? So we have the breakdown for the sellers, the one pager, hey, these are all the high points of the contract. We also have a breakdown for the buyers that we have them initial before they DocuSign anything else. Hey, here's what you're signing. Here's what they're asking. Here's what you're offering. Here's approximately your out of pocket for inspections, well, septic, tank, sweep, whatever you're doing. And that system or that method of writing an offer can drastically reduce your heartburn, I call it brain damage, in a transaction. You said, I thought, he never, you shouldn't, all that. You say, hey, I called you, we went over the one pager, you initialed the one pager, acknowledging exactly what was in the offer. And if there's an issue at that point, we can deal with it. So give me 1 second and I'm going to do this. Okay, so we have offer. So I'll
never heard of that, Adam. I think that's really smart. I really like that a lot.
Yeah. And these are just things that, you kind of go, well, why haven't we done this before? Can everyone see this?
Yeah.
So we attach the offer, right? Because to present it, you really go, who's the agent? If we know this, if they're an owner, like if it's an FHA loan, it's pretty obvious they're an owner occupant. And if it's a fourplex and they say they'll accept the tenants, it's an investor. Or you can just say unknown. What's your asking price? What's their offer? Just money. And this kind of just follows the OREF. A big one is always personal property. What about the fridge? They said fridge in the marketing remarks, but it wasn't in the contract. And then we put things in red that would be a seller cost. Home warranty, seller credits. And then we'll do an approximate net to seller. And in quick math for that is if your commission's 6, your title and escrow fees are going to be about 0.75%. That's plus or minus. We always shoot a little bit higher on these numbers. So that the seller is going to get 93.25% of whatever their offer is. So if the offer was 500,000, you multiply it by 0.9325, and then you get a number. And so in this offer sheet can have everything the seller needs to make a decision. And you'll know if they're looking at the net, that money is important to them, or if they're looking at the loan type, or if there's any other contingencies built in, contingent on down payment or purchase funds like the sale of a house or 401k. This is just, especially with multiple offers, instead of having a bunch of 15-page contracts, You'll have 6, 10, 12, whatever, single pages. And then that can help you just process the amount of stuff in there. So I'm doing that. So 500 times 0.9325. So that seller's getting that 466, 250 approximately. And then maybe at that point we subtract their, $200,000 loan. That's net of 266, 250. So all of a sudden now, when you're presenting this to your seller, you're like, yo, this one nets you 266, 250. This one nets you 267, 250 because of whatever's in here. Now, Destiny, I'll email this to you. Pretty cool, huh? And a takeaway you guys can get from this is, what am I doing every day that could be done better with some sort of system? Or if I'm not in the office, how is it getting done? I have a guy, brand new, first listing, gets it pending right away with multiple offers. What do I do? Pull up the We Have an Offer, save it to the file, go through the contract, and then make the notes. Okay, we can start with, what's the buyer's agent's name? Perfect. Are they an owner occupant? Yeah, FHA loan. Cool. What's our asking price? Well, that's on the MLS, $495. Cool. What's their offer? $520. That's pretty good. And then now he, brand new agent, looks like a genius because he's got his one pager. Hey, process the offer. Here's all the info. Wow. We'll accept it. Let's get a commission. It's amazing. What do you think of that, Mara? Huh?
Yeah, I do a similar layout. It helps simplify it.
And then preparing. So we've created a little system also around letting sellers know. And it's pretty much every conversation. Like in our market, if you're under 7, there's a good chance, if you're properly priced, that we'll deal with multiple offers. It's super important to be straightforward with the sellers up front. Hey, market values 500. I recommend we list for 530. If we're anywhere in the ballpark of reality with this price, there's a good chance we're going to have a ton of showings and a good chance we're going to have multiple offers. This has nothing to do with the way that I priced it, right? So you need to let them know up front. We didn't underprice this thing. This is just the market that we're in. Because I hear it quite a bit. I'm sure most of you do too. Well, my uncle said we got multiple offers because the price is too low, right? So if you can just come up and hit the objections before they come, okay, you're going to have a lot of showings. There's going to be multiple offers. We did not price it incorrectly. We priced it properly. Now, if we have no showings, we know we're way overpriced. And how does your schedule look? When do you want this sold? Because what we like to do is now we'll pre-market through the weekend. Database call, another reason, hey, we've got a great house. I know you were looking for a great house. You want to get in before everyone else does. Hits the market Monday. Highest and best due by Wednesday at 5. It's pending on Thursday. That's our system with ones we know where we can get multiple offers. The reason for that is our transaction coordinators can work on the weekends, but it costs us more money. And we really don't want to have the salespeople's weekends, destroyed with 300 showing requests or the seller complaining about this or that. So having the system work during the week, well, all hands are on deck, can be super, super helpful. Who in here's had a just nightmare multiple offers where it's like 20 offers, 200 showings, people are screaming and breaking down the door? Anybody?
Yes.
Was it on over a weekend?
Oh, actually Thanksgiving.
Yeah. And you're like, now you don't want to be or have your team disincentivized to deal with these. Because every time I get a listing now, it's like, okay, here we go. I'm going to get owned for like 2 days, or my team's going to get owned. Here comes the sign calls and the leads, and it's great. But if all that's happening during the weekend, that's really tough.
Adam, just a little piece of Craig and I figured out something to implement in my business on this. I just pay my transaction coordinator 5% of the total commission to handle all that for me. I'm like, you can
Perfect.
do it or not. It's really up to you. If you want to make extra money,
Mhm.
here's the responsibility. And so it relieves me of like, feeling all those phone calls. How many offers do you have? What would your seller want? Blah, blah, blah. Like, I don't want to talk to any of those agents. Sorry. So I just put my assistant's number in MLS and let her deal with it all, and she gets to make extra money. So that might be an idea for some people if you have leverage on your team.
Yeah, and that can be maybe someone that only has a bunch of $300,000 buyers. Like, hey, you want to feel busy? Maybe take some leads.
Yes, that too, right? So yeah, you can incentivize anybody on your team to handle that, right? So
yeah, that's a great way to go about it. So it would first take just the forethought of like, what do I want this to look like? What's my intention around this listing? Do I want to get buyers from it? Okay, if my intention is to get buyers from it, how can I do that? And I saw someone say that you can't pre-market. Debbie, can you do a coming soon in your MLS? Or like with ours, we can put a sign in the yard 3 business days before it goes live. So we can like sign in the yard, coming soon, and then as long as it's on the MLS within 3 business days, we're in compliance. The other way to pre-market, this is another little system we have, and it's just a simple email forwarding rule we created, where we have the same photographer shoot all of our houses. She shoots the house and emails us a zip form. Once any email I receive from her, it goes to the entire team. So now, as soon as we have a listing shot, because most people are visual, right? Like photos are everything. All of our buyer's agents have the photos, the address, and the price of the listing, and they can pre-market via el teléfono or email your clients, right? I mean, we should all have a list of buyers that we look at every day if we're consistent. And then when you see the photos and the price come through of another team member's listing or someone else in your office, if you can't like market it on the internet, you can certainly call people and tell them about it. Give you a reason to talk to them, provide value, especially with buyers that can become disenchanted with the market. A simple phone call or a text like, hey, this one's coming on in 4 days. You want to see it before everyone else. That could bring back a client that's looking at other agents because they don't think you're doing a good job when it's really just the market. So there are ways around it. It really comes down to, first you got to set the intention and then you commit. And then once you're committed to an activity, then your creativity will follow. But you're not going to get creative until you're committed, because those go hand in hand. Creativity always follows commitment. It's like, okay, if I had a gun to my head and I had to sell this thing before it hit the MLS, and I can't do any social media posts, and I can't put a coming soon sign, how would I do it? How would a really, really committed person do that? And then your brain starts working on it. Okay, I could call people. I could door knock. What else can I do? When am I going to do it? And then it happens. Or you can say, oh, can't do it, won't do it. I'm going to take this listing and I'm not going to have that thing have babies. Everything you should do should have babies. If I have a listing that's properly marketed, I should get some more listing leads from it, and I should get some buyer leads from it, if the intention's there and the consistency's there. It's real easy, stick a sign in the yard, receive a bunch of offers, and that's it. A little bit more energy put into it, that thing will propel your business forward. You're adding to your database. You're sending just listed postcards, just sold postcards. What's your home worth postcards? All around a listing. Hey, this is Adam. I'm sure you saw my sign at your neighbor's house. Call and let you know I put that sign up. If there's any suspicious activity, this is my number. Give me a call. It's a vacant house, or the neighbors are, whatever, like any reason, just to go outbound.
Mm.
This hour has flown by. We're just looking at the timer at 10:57. What other inquiring things do you want to make sure you ask Adam before we hop off this call today? I think we've got a great hour of great nuggets, great conversation.
I am finding things to email Destiny.
That's good. That's awesome.
Okay,
Yes, we'll take everything you can send out.
Okay, cool. So, kind of to come back to what we talked about, right? So we talked about consistency. So setting the intention, having a reason to get up before you want to is huge. And then following that morning routine. I wake up and I am a robot until 11. I don't need to check my schedule because I know what I'm doing. Gym, breakfast, shower, dressed, office by 8:30, team meeting 9:05. We're going outbound, some sort of outbound from 9:35 to 11. And then it's appointments and negotiations and follow-up, et cetera, after that. So it's just that every day I train, every day I meet, every day I go outbound, every day I add to my database. Dink, 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 over and over and over and over. Right? Because if you want a consistent paycheck, you get a job or you treat your current business like a job. Right? You show up 9 to 5, 8 to 5, whatever your hours are, if you're working at, I don't know, wherever people work at, and then you get paid. You show up consistently, get paid consistently. And that translates to all things. How to be productive with your database. One is to add to it and then to touch it often. It doesn't matter what CRM you use, the best method is the one that you're willing to do. And if you're not willing to do it, hire someone to do it. And you'll pay attention to it because you're going to pay attention to where your money goes. Right? And if you hire someone to do your database and you got no one in your database, give that person your phone and have them just start adding people. And then you'll just have to figure it out. Competition is accountability tool. White Claw Wednesdays, $100 if you're late. Anything, make it fun. You've got to make this stuff fun. We have a putting green in our office. We have putting competitions. I mean, it can be anything. It just has to be something. And then prepping for listings. Let the sellers know what's coming. Let them know it's coming, and then commit to making sure that listing has babies. Somehow, you're going to let people know that thing is for sale. You're going to get some leads from it. Just figure out whatever method, whatever you're comfortable with, whatever your MLS will allow you to do. There is a way to do it. Yeah.
I love it. I think that's the perfect thing to remember. There's a way to do it. There's a way to do it. There's a right way to do it. There's a wrong way to do it. Adam, thank you so much for sharing with us the way to do it, the way that's working for you. I think a lot of us found some great value. I know Destiny now has a list of people looking for some of the great content you've shared. Okay. And Adam, just thank you for being here to pour value into all of us, and for all of you that were on the call today. Thanks so much for joining us, and make it a powerful and awesome Friday.
Yeah, now go be great.
All right, have a great one, guys. Take care.